the morning. Let's kind of get through this. I think the last time we talked was here. We started on this day. It was the 18th, so we'll just kind of pick everything up from there. Um, I guess first things first, I do expect that we're gonna push up from here. Let me get rid of this. I don't know, those lines right there or that drawing. But so anyway, we started from here and we said, okay, it's underneath, but the big thing we need to be worried about, I think we mentioned this was like the 2 hour, maybe. No, this was the 2 hour. I think it was whatever. I'm just gonna get specific to it. I don't remember every other thing I said at another time. I think it was what I was gonna say, I think it was we ran to something similar with the 1 hour where we dropped under around this position, then we got picked back up through it. And the same kind of thing was going on here. We did start under, but we needed to fall under this in the case. So we fall under here, but we're still not under the 2850. So there's still a reason to have it bought back up. Same kind of thing. So we dropped under, a little bit sketchy. We came back above. Boom. We push up. I do believe a lot of this, or I'll say this, I guess, first. So now we're up here. And I do believe that we're going to push up more later today from what I've seen so far. So a lot of this, I think with the 18th where we last left off was we were here, I believe was the 18th. Yeah, so we were right here. And so we can pretty much see it was a weird day. The day I don't remember the civics. I guess I'm not gonna say what it was, but regardless, this was the 18th. We had another day here. We didn't push up. We just pushed back down. Now we have a day where we start under. We peak up. What we're looking for, if we're gonna expect the dollar to try to push up, maybe, which is still sketchy because here and at the end it pushes up what here and then just gets wrecked all the way down. So it's still more bearish than bullish, even if it does start here. But the point is that we got another bear signal here starting underneath it, and then I imagine we're just going to keep pushing down. Now it could sit here. We do have a low right here that it could stop it and keep it in this area a little longer. Um, it beating this range looks pretty unlikely though, so we'll kind of have to see what happens with that. But I imagine at this point it's just going to keep pushing down. I guess I haven't looked at some of these things too much. I just took a quick glance at Bitcoin, and we can see here, if you're waiting to like get in, like I said, some of this area is a little bit sketchy. Maybe someone wants to get on this day when it clearly comes all the way back down and pushes. But I think it's acceptable also to enter in either on this day that we had right here or right there. It kind of just depends if where people want to put their stop. So, but to me, it looks like it's gonna push up to 26,000. So I like where it is right now. I've liked it ever since we've started a day above here. Specifically yesterday, I really liked it coming back down to this 22,300. I think it looks pretty good. Some things that worried me a little bit, I guess not so much. One thing that did worry me, I think, was the 19th. Was it the 19th? I think it was the 19th. I don't remember, but what worried me, maybe it was this day on the 18th, and maybe I even talked about it a little bit. But what worried me is we didn't come up to hit these targets. I still think Apple has a decent chance of getting knocked down at this level. We'll see where the dollar index is. I'm still looking for this 98.3 to pretty much 100. We could just say I think is fine. With a stronger range right here between what we could do this price range. Oh, well, it doesn't. It just says how much it is, but between pretty much this $0.7 range or whatever. It's point seven of a point, but it's 7/10 of a point. We'll say it that way. 7/10 of a point right here between what is this? We look up here, we see 99.375 and 100.08. So I definitely could see doing something around here. I still think this is a strong bounce spot, but like I said before, if it does come into here, I would preferably um, wait to see if it can actually break back up above this area and to be able to do something. There just seems like it's a pretty strong area as we've gone over plenty before. But like on the last run up, I guess even in a sense, we can just show me. Obviously, there's older data, but just even on the last run up, it shows stuff around these areas also as well. And then there is stuff also if it really wants to come down under there and it really does get caught. Let's say we come down here. Let's say we bounce up here. Somehow we get here, but we don't come above, and then we come back down. I mean, this looks, well, technically, this will probably be somewhere here, but maybe we bounce somewhere around there. That, from a longer term perspective, that would also make a lot of sense, and that would look pretty decent also as well. From a long term perspective, I could easily expect it. I could easily, I think it's reasonable if someone was going to make a bet that it would come all the way down here. Um, it's just this whole area looks pretty decent. This looks strong. Everywhere into here looks pretty strong for it to try to shoot back up. And we just had so much selling that it's just a little bit difficult, but we'll see. Like I said, that's kind of one of my concerns. I do think 98.3 is strong, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a. I think it's fine for a buy point, but it's still more or less whenever we hit here a range between this area and right above it. So probably around 99.675 and 98.36 is what it kind of looks like to me. So I still think this could be fine. I do believe it'll push up from here and try to fight back up. Um, will it get past this area, these two averages in this area, and then depending where it is, this spot also as well? That's kind of questionable, but I think if it can do that, I think this looks pretty standard, and it should just move back up. Even if it does double top or something else up there, I think that looks pretty reasonable to me anyway. But yeah, I mean, that pretty much means a lot of stuff would still get some sort of strength like that anyway. It looks like the last market, we're up 2.8% on the NASDAQ. That's actually pretty wild. I don't remember all the specifics. I haven't looked at this stuff over the weekend, so it's kind of like whatever to me. Not like whatever. I just haven't looked at it over the weekend, so it's, I don't remember all the specifics since Friday. Anyway, this looks pretty decent for what it is. This is just one of the NASDAQs that I look at. I still think we could push up higher, 11.87 or maybe 12.0, 12,050, somewhere around there possibly. So we'll kind of see what happens for it. This looks pretty nice. It wasn't a perfect starting day here, so this isn't one of those things where I'm going to be like, oh, like you could see some of this with the dollar index, more likely than not going to push back down. But it's not like a perfect start. So if anything, it's close enough where you could say kind of either way. Um, but I don't know. I don't want to force something. So like you can see on the week time frame, it looks nice for what it is. Um, because what we start Monday here, right? So we start here, and then we finally come back down and touch in this area, and then whatever. I don't want to force it, so it kind of is what it is. So Bitcoin looks good. I think that'll still push up. I mean, I think it looks really nice for where it is, even from a week time frame. I would say though, from a week time frame perspective, I could see it come down a little bit more, but the days look pretty nice. We hit almost at the top line here on Saturday, and then yesterday on Sunday we hit the 22.3. So we hit the 22.315, and then we also hit the 20. Well, we almost hit the 22.4 the day before. So I like that both of these areas were hit. I think that's pretty nice. I still think it looks like somewhere around 26K, um, maybe like 25,900, something like that would be pretty nice too. Let's see. Let's move some of these over. What are we doing here? Okay. I don't see anything really too specific. I mean, it's been a fight here. I will say though, I'm not a big fan of these areas, as I've always said, between one of the averages and the 200 when it's under it. Um, but this will be very interesting. To me, so far, this looks like the most. I'll just move this here for now. But this looks like the most reasonable thing to expect. Now, this is going to be coming down. It's coming down pretty quick. It looks like 20, 25 cents a day. Um, but it would make sense to have something come up to here anyway, even if it was going to like at least test. We'll have here, here, and then, a little test up here. So that would make sense at all. So as well. So I think it looks pretty nice for where it is. I think it might be a little rocky. I mean, if we can, I mean, it started the day already, right? Yeah, we already started the day. So we'll see where tomorrow starts if we can actually start above this. It's 2%, it's 3%. That would be 11. So like we get the bulk of the gains are in this range up here. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. I'm a little bit sketched, more or less kind of like right here is what looks safe to me. So I could see it pushing up to that though, so it could be a decent place to kind of grab in. And also at the same time, there is the whole thing with the dollar index. But we're about how far away? Between 1.6% and 2.3%, just about. from possible strong bounce spots. So that's always something to kind of notice as well, and that I'm keeping in the back of my mind. Like we're pretty close to that stuff. On a VIX perspective, it looked like again we've started under. Considering the dollar isn't at its bounce spot yet, I'm not really too surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a week where the VIX actually comes. If this week the VIX actually comes all the way down, and actually hits this 17. What is it this week? This 17. I don't know why I can't. Oh, that's because it's a line or it's a trend line. Anyway, it's like 17.9 pretty much. I wouldn't be surprised if it does that. Just looking at the past, this is like what the first year that we hit it, and then we have 2 years later. But like I said, even if I move this up, whatever, it's all the same stuff. Even if I move it down slightly. But the point is that we can ignore this. This is the first, and then we finally hit here, and then, or we could say we hit here, whichever. Then we hit, right? Then we hit, and we come quite a bit into it. So just from that kind of perspective, we actually haven't touched this line whatsoever at all. So I definitely think that there's a possibility that the VIX, at the current time, I see a decent possibility that the VIX could actually push down. I wondered, did this go up like a whole bunch in 2 seconds? It's not a whole bunch, but yeah. Like I said, we'll see what happens though. I still suspect that it's more likely than not. I think these are just bottom buyers at the current point in time. Like even if you look at it from like a 12-hour perspective, what's the goal here? I'm not saying it can't go up, but what is the goal here? We're buying it here maybe because we want to try to double bottom it, even though it's a little bit higher. I don't know if you'd even call it like an Adam and Eve kind of thing. But they're holding a lower high, but where are they trying to push this through? They have to push this and get it past all of this stuff. So I don't know. Just like from the dollar index perspective, it doesn't seem crazy to want to be in the dollar as opposed to something else right now. Because that's one thing we could look at this as. We could look at this as, is it worth to be in the dollar? And then I guess the next thing, is like more a derivative from it is like, okay, what can we take and kind of transfer that to? Okay, if the dollar is bad, then that's when you look at the relationship between that and equities and stuff. So just kind of talk about Apple again real quick. I still think Apple wants to come up to 140. I don't know what this is going to be next week. 30, 140. I'd say like 140.28, 140.25. I think is pretty fine. So even just from that, we still have like another 1.8% possibly. I could see it going up. I wonder if I'm interested to see what happens and where this stuff goes because I still really feel like where the dollar is right now, like Bitcoin, like let's look at it this way. I'll kind of explain it. Stuff just looks like it has a lot more to go, or maybe that's not a good way to explain it. Um, it'll just be interesting to see because there's that about 1.5 to like 2% somewhere around there for the dollar that it could actually go down. Let's say Bitcoin goes up here, where's the dollar going to be? Right? That's kind of what I'm thinking. If the dollar does go down like another 2%, does that mean Apple might be up at 144? And I don't think it necessarily means it will or won't. I'm kind of playing it by ear, and I'm still going through technicals. I don't think just because the dollar is going to go down means that it makes sense to play this area when we have resist. Like it doesn't make sense to me whatsoever at all. I mean, there's got to be other stuff that looks more decent than that, really. So just kind of is what it is. And then we'll see with some of this other stuff. Are they not open today? Huh. Oh, I guess it's for New Year's or something, I guess. This will be interesting to see also as well. So that said Friday. So the Hang Seng is closed until Thursday. So they're closed until Thursday. Okay. This will be pretty interesting to see what happens. They might actually get a chance to start above this. Though this was not hard to see. We called this a while ago, but we'll see what happens up here since it's really coming back to a lot more of where the data was. The recent data for the drop. I don't think there's anything to look at the Nikkei. Nothing too special here. Looks like it'd have a little bit more room to go up, even if we want to just assume we'll come to like the bottoms of the top tier here. We could look at here. We could look at here, which kind of goes from these two areas right here. I could see this being a little bit more likely, especially with what's going on with the dollar. Um, let's see. Gold looks kind of interesting. So we've hit the range, which is really nice, and it's been working its way into here fairly well also. I'm a little concerned what it might do a little bit higher up, but its current positioning is really great. It's a really nice start time or a really nice candle start in this range right here, specifically towards the bottom. This is how I'm kind of looking at it, more or less, and like this is obviously a little bit higher. But this is how I'm looking at it. So we have this range right now between 1917 and 1949, and then we have the range between 1949 and 1985, and then we have the range between 1985 or 1986 and like 2250, pretty much. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. Um, it's hard to say because it seems like I don't know what stopped this really. Maybe it was the dollar doing stuff. I don't remember all the specifics really. But I will say, like, I'm not surprised this stuff got pushed down once we had stuff like this happen. But when you have like this, and then it just like, I don't know why, but I mean, this, I'm not surprised it got pushed down, especially into something like this. But, and this, I guess I'm not completely surprised either because we didn't have good support here. But I mean, this looks pretty decent. So my main point is like, even if we're above this, there seemed to be a decent amount of resistance here at that 1983 spot. So I'm not really sure. Like here looked pretty good. I mean this looks really good. This is really nice push up. We have this right here. People are taking profits before it. It's able to push through. They fight here, pushes down the next day, and then pushes up, and then it comes all the way back down. Like so, there's some weird resistance here in the past. So normally I would just say like this looks good from a weak standpoint, but it's hard to ignore this 1985 spot or whatever. So that's something that I think is worth keeping an eye on also as well. But it's starting to look better for gold, or it's starting to get even closer in a spot. So the same thing, if we were to talk about like Bitcoin in a sense, this right here for me kind of more or less feels a lot like Bitcoin. Um, that we just went through when I was talking about between these two areas. It feels a lot like Bitcoin for like here. Um, Now there was some things that we could see, like I don't want to go. I already went over it. Um, like here, you could see that it was decent to stay in or to not get out because right, we were talking about the 2 hour, and even though we fell under, we never fell into the 2 hour and the line at the same time. And it's looking pretty nice for what it is right now. But that I kind of feel the same way where it's okay to be. I think it's fine to um, not worry about what the price is doing. If someone's in, I mean, if they don't want to sell, they don't want to sell out. I'm not here to give advice, but the idea of that, I don't think it's a huge like worry zone per se, more or less. And then we'll have to see just what it a little bit more what it does. But everything still looks really good. I mean, we could see Mar come up. This is a pretty nice day start here on Friday also as well. I think we pushed up over the weekend, so this will probably be up even higher once it opens up. Pretty nice stuff down here. We can ignore this because this was like from a while ago. Day 500 is all the way down here. But looked pretty good from here. We saw the stuff on January that I talked about January 1st, and then we pretty much just pushed up ever since then. So this has been pretty straightforward, pretty easy trade. Um, a little bit sketchy stuff, I suppose. It just depends what you're looking at, and what you're trying to do. Depends how much, if you really care, if you get down in here, how much necessarily happens up here. Now, if someone got in up here, this would definitely be pretty worrisome sitting in it up there. Other things that are interesting that I usually go over. I think DraftKings can push up. We'll really just have to see. CME looks a little bit sketchy. It's possible it could push up. Maybe it'll get back to that 23 spot. PayPal, we'll see what happens with it. This could be a fairly strong week if it can start up back up here. I don't know why this line was here. I don't remember when, but maybe we'll have a little bit of resistance here. Pretty much at 83. I still like DraftKings a lot more than PayPal, so I don't really care about PayPal. I like PayPal down here, but when they're both above, I think DraftKings is just better. So it kind of just is what it is. And yeah, so that's our market recap. Take care, y'all. We'll see what happens later in the day, and peace.